Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video. Today, we're talking about some side hustle stuff. We're talking about gigs like Doordash, Grubhub, Uber Eats, Lyft, Instacart, you name it, all of this stuff. And we're going to talk about some of the tips that I've learned over my past few years of doing this kind of stuff and how I got to the point where I don't really have to do that anymore. I feel like I've maximized my opportunities and everything because of these side hustle gigs, and having them as availability to make money whenever it's really taken my businesses and options that I have to the next level. So I'm always going to be grateful for these side hustle gigs. And anyways, let's get into some of these tips that I have for you guys. I got four categories. They're going to be like four, maybe more tips in them. But if you guys are new to the channel, my name is Tanner Markley. I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a pro athlete, and I've used these side hustle gigs to really maximize my potential with my businesses. So when I started my own businesses, I have a footwear company, I have my YouTube channel that you're watching, and I have a stunt show. And what I didn't want to do is I didn't want to take a paycheck from my own companies. I wanted to continuously reinvest into them so that way my companies could grow and grow and grow. And now they finally gotten to the point where I don't really even have time to do any of these side hustle stuff anymore. So I'm going to tell you guys what I did to get to the point where I am, because it worked for me and hopefully it's going to work for you. Now, these companies, you have to really look at what these jobs are, and they are a job with a very low market value. It is something that just about anyone can do, so you have to take it for what it is. You can't expect to ever get a higher pay raise from any of these companies. In fact, they're probably going to continue to cut your pay. So you don't let these companies push you around. You have to push around the companies, and you have to really maximize what you can get out of these companies while they last, you know? Like, the gigs are going to get worse and worse, so you really have to make the most out of them while you can. So let's get into tip number one. And tip number one is multi-app, because these apps are going to screw you over left and right. Unfortunately, the apps have gotten to the point where they reward people for taking shitty orders. So if you don't want to be someone who's taking a really shitty order, then you probably need to be multi-apping. One thing that I've noticed, especially in 2022, is when I first get logged into one of these apps like Doordash, they want me to take a really shitty order first, and then they'll start giving me good orders. But if I don't take that really shitty order, they don't give me any orders for a while. Now, I don't know if it's like this for all of the apps, but it's like this for Doordash, and it's really annoying. That's why I don't really do this app anymore. But in order to be successful on these apps, you have to have multiple options, multiple streams of income, basically. Because sometimes it's going to be hot for one app, and maybe you only have 4 hours throughout the day. Well, maybe that 4 hours isn't a good time to be doing Instacart. Maybe it's a better time to be doing Doordash. But if you don't have multiple options, you're stuck with whatever they give you. And you do not ever want to be stuck with what a gig app that has low market value, that could care less if you are working for them or not. You don't want to be stuck in that position where you're just getting their trash orders. So the best way to get around this is to multi-app, to have all of the options. If you can, you got to have Lyft, Uber, Grubhub, Instacart, Doordash. You got to get on all of them, because honestly, don't ever rely on, especially a company that doesn't care for your value, don't ever rely on one company. Maybe if you have a W-2 job and you're like contracted in or something, you can rely on one company. But unfortunately, if you're an independent contractor, you got to really play the field. Don't let the field play you. Otherwise, you're going to be stuck with a broken down car, not a lot of money, and you're probably going to be really pissed off, honestly. I've been there where I'm just sitting around and I'm like, man, I should have logged into more apps or something, you know? If you're sitting there and you're like waiting for an hour and you're like, okay, let me log into Grubhub or something, you've already like lost. You should have been logged into multiple things at once. You should really be multi-apping, because why don't you want to have multiple things going at once? The more options, the merrier, in my opinion. You have to be ready. Like, number two is you have to be able to quick pivot, you know? If something's good, like there's been times, for example, maybe like COVID, delivery was really, really good. Probably wasn't the best time for Lyft and Uber, though, because no one was getting in Ubers, basically. So during the COVID period, everyone who was probably a Lyft driver had to make a quick pivot. Now, sometimes these apps make little updates and stuff, and then the apps just suck for little bits and periods of time. So you have to be able to make a quick pivot go to another app. You have to be able to just expect something. Like when you log in, you should have no expectations. You shouldn't expect, oh, I'm gonna make $100 today, because sometimes it might be a really shitty day and you might not make $100. So when things are good, use them. Make money when the sun is shining. There's a saying, something along those lines. But when it rains, you got to be ready to move and pivot to something else, because if something's not working, there's no point of wasting more of your time on it. You got to make a quick switch. And that's like any kind of entrepreneurship. Like YouTube, sometimes it rewards certain kinds of content and sometimes it doesn't. If it doesn't reward certain kind of content, I got to be able to switch over. And the same thing goes for like all of the businesses that I have. I have a footwear company, a stunt show, and a YouTube channel. I gotta be ready to pivot. If I'm just not making any gains on my YouTube channel, I gotta switch over and put my focus on my footwear company or onto my stunt show. You have to be ready to pivot, and that's just about any industry. Number 3 is maximize your time. If you are sitting there and you are just maybe listening to music, or you're just sitting around doing nothing, maybe you're sleeping, waiting for an order to come in, you're wasting your time. The beautiful thing about these apps is there's so many options of things you can do. You can listen to audiobooks, you can make a YouTube video and talk to yourself in the car like a weirdo like me, and hopefully maybe people like the videos. I'm just kidding. You can do other things like build a business. I built 3 businesses while doing Doordash. So the time is there, and you might as well treat it like an office. This is your office. This is my office. I sit in this car all the time, and when I was doing Doordash full time, I made the most of it. I had my notes, I had my sales sheets on people who I was going to be trying to sell my shows to. I had all kinds of stuff. So I'd come in to doing Doordash every single day with a plan. I knew that I needed to make $70 that day, and I was going to sit in my car and I was going to maximize my time. If I'm sitting around waiting for orders, I'm going to be doing something. I'm going to be talking to myself, making vlogs, or whatever it is. Speaking of, if you guys haven't yet, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. I know most of you guys don't subscribe to the channel that watch it. So please subscribe and also smash that like button. Let's move on to tip number 4, and that's working at the correct times. Because there's not really, we see all the time, unfortunately. Dashers get robbed. Dashers get shot. Putting yourself out there at the wrong times is probably not the safest thing to do. And it's also probably not the smartest thing to do, because you don't make good money when you're dashing late at night. Nothing really good happens after like 1 a.m., Or even say like 11 a.m. What really? 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., When you're working super late at night, you're probably not going to be making very good money. You're not going to have good customers. You're going to be dealing with drunk people. Probably not the greatest time. I would highly recommend, if you're doing like delivery, maximize the lunch and dinner periods, but don't spend your time like in the other in-between periods, because you're not going to make much money. It's not really worth your time. Same thing goes for driving. Try to drive and maximize the time periods. Figure out what is the best time to make money for this specific app that you're doing. Maybe Instacart is different. Maybe Lyft and Uber are different times or something. Try to figure out that schedule. It's up to you to learn how all these apps work if you want to be someone who's mastering multiple gig apps. You just gotta, you gotta learn. If you're not learning, then you're gonna be screwed. That's the best way to put it. Anyways, that's all I got for you guys today. If you guys enjoy my content at all, please subscribe. If you guys have any tips for other drivers, leave them in the comments down below. If you guys have any questions, leave those comments down below. Let me know, and I'll try to answer any of the questions. I try to respond to every single comment. So if you guys have any comments or anything, let me know down below. If my videos suck, let me know they suck. It's good criticism. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Make that money, guys. Peace.